I just wondered if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you. Martin, I can remember when we played the summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. But you pick up, you was strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I ordered a fidget and I learned that fidget.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. You can also watch Martin Houston live on Facebook and YouTube on Martin Houston Live, as well as Tide 109 and X's and O's Sports. Also, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a share on at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. It is a beautiful Thursday morning, and we're live and local and ready to get things going. And once again, you're tuned into the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. And if you want to get in on the conversation, give us a call at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Taco Casa hotline. Taco Casa, quality, taste, value under the biggest cactus in town. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so excuse me, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. We got a great show lined up for you, talking little Bama hoops as March Madness is underway, and Alabama getting everything that they could have wanted. Not sure if they got the team they wanted, but everything else fell into place. So we'll be reviewing Rutgers and Notre Dame, throwing a little true false, talk a little spring ball. We'll have a little recruiting in the second half, kicking off the third quarter with Hank South 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. So all of that, plus your thoughts, your comments, and your interactions, once again, at 205-342-9904, or you can post your thoughts on in our social media chat outlets. So look forward to having you as a part of the conversation. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
Well, having a good day so far.
Oh well, as you notice, I'm yawning. Oh my God, I just feel like I just went to bed. No, seriously, it was a very interesting night last night. Alabama, know who they're going to be playing now, as Notre Dame wins in double overtime, scoring the winning bucket literally with 1.4 seconds to go, and just a really interesting night. But Joe, before that, you actually had a late night on a different front. Bama softball dropping another close one. What happened in Bama versus the Seminoles?
Well, last night Alabama hosted number 2 Florida State and lost 6-5. Alabama was up 4-1 in going into the sixth inning, but allowed a 3-run home run in the sixth inning to tie it. Florida State managed two runs in the seventh inning off a couple of errors from Ashley Pranking at third base. Alabama was able to get one run back in the seventh, but just couldn't get it done to extend or win the game in the seventh inning. So Florida State, they got the number a little bit. They're coming off two wins in last year's College World Series, to eliminate Alabama, and then last night kind of keeping Alabama's less than they're kind of taking a little bit of a dip in the last week or two, especially at the plate. So it kind of looking for Alabama to bounce back this weekend as they play Kentucky.
Yeah, they'll need a good bounce back. Of course, you have the Seminoles is a tough midweek opponent based on what they were able to do, last year. But this team, I'm not too worried about. It may be you never want to lose, but working through some things may not be all bad for this team as they move deeper into SEC play. So we'll keep our eyes on that and keep our eyes on what happens this weekend. Last night, X, did you stay up and watch the game to its conclusion?
I didn't watch the entire game. I watched the first half of it.
Oh wow!
But, yeah,
it was a very, very interesting game. As they did a role reversal. At halftime, I think Notre Dame had 1-3 and like 30 points in the paint, and Rutgers was the opposite. So, very different game in the first half. Rutgers had a great offensive output in the first half, and that's really not their game, scoring, like crazy. So it was interesting to watch the two teams play as they went down the track of the game. But in the second half, it was still something more of the same. But Notre Dame got some threes to go. Ended up with five threes on the night. But as you watch those two games, it'd be interesting to see how Alabama watched the game. But here's Coach Nate Oates when he talked about how they would watch the game. After we hear this, I got a couple questions I want to ask you guys.
To be honest with you, staff will probably watch it together. We may even split up, watch it offensive side, defensive side. Players, most time we just want to watch in their room. We're not trying to make them. We're gathering together later that night and review the film on that team. Now today we showed Notre Dame film. Yesterday we showed Rutgers film. Both days in practice, we had a segment of Rutgers and a segment of Notre Dame. The staff was ready for both before we practiced on Monday. But tomorrow we'll do a little mix of both. Probably some cleanups from our first 2 days of practice. How we're guarding the stuff, and then obviously Wednesday night after the game we'll meet and we'll have an edit put together already of whichever team it is we're gonna ends up winning and playing. So we've already given them some video on each team.
All right, true, false. Did Bama and the players and the coaches meet after the game last night?
False.
in the late training show, they probably just get up early this morning.
Breakfast being.
Yeah, of course, today being St. Patrick's Day, I don't know if you realize Joe literally was like 12 o'clock with like 30 seconds to get into the night when he scored the bucket, and one of the announcers said, "The luck of the Irish." So it was very interesting. Literally, the game ended like at 12:01 last night. It was, of course, 11 o'clock our time. Did the team head out last night, or they were heading out today? Do you know? Because if
Yesterday,
they arrived.
so.
Tuesday. They arrived Tuesday afternoon. They had practice here in town about 11:30, and then they hit the plane. So it's Tuesday early evening, late afternoon.
Yeah, so it's possible, since it would have been 9 o'clock there, they may have met last night. But I was just sitting here thinking, oh my goodness, I was I didn't know who I wanted to win as I watched that game play out more and more. Did you guys have a preference on which team, as you watched them play, which one gave Alabama the best Alabama had the best chance of going against or matched up better with? X.
I think Notre Dame is the better matchup for Alabama. When you just look at the way that their style of play, once again, like we talked about yesterday, Rutgers defense tends to be their bread and butter, and Alabama has struggled with more physical teams throughout the season. So I think Notre Dame is the better matchup. Does that make it an easier game? Not necessarily because of some of the things Notre Dame can't do.
Yeah, I agree with Xavier. I think that Notre Dame is the better matchup for Alabama because they're more similar to Alabama. So I think Alabama can really just play their game on Friday afternoon, and Rutgers would have beat them up a little bit.
Yeah, and I agree with that in the sense of just when you look at it by the books and everything, Rutgers definitely seemed to play a more physical style of basketball. But what I found interesting last night is Bediako and how he plays. Did Notre Dame find something last night? And I think they said in their wins they average about like us, we average, I think, 9 per game makes just throughout the season. They average 10 threes per win when they're winning. And last night they put up 50 something points in the paint. Atkinson, the Yale transfer, was 13 for 15, Joe, Xavier. So do you think that the Irish may come out and go, hey, let's big boy ball Bama? True or false? Will they try to big boy Bama tomorrow, X?
I don't think so because that's not their bread and butter per se. Could it be effective against Alabama? Yes, of course. But teams really try not to change too much at this point of the season. So I think they'll stick to their game plan, and then if Alabama gives them the inside, they'll take it.
Any thoughts on that, Joe?
Yeah, I'll say true that they will use that. Alabama's been susceptible inside this year. I'll say true. I think that Alabama will have to be diligent to defend the inside to defend the paint.
Yeah, I think they'll do what they. I don't think that was their intentions last night. I don't remember the center's name for Rutgers, but he got in foul trouble early. They got the big man in foul trouble early, and then they just kept feeding it to Atkinson, and he was on. And their coach said at halftime, the ball's going in the hole. You got to love it, and they came right back out and fed it to him. So Bediako, that's why I was saying Bediako and how he plays will be mission critical to how Alabama plays the game. Got a few more basketball questions we'll get to on the other side. You're listening to the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. Remember, you can get in on the conversation. We invite you to do so on the Taco Casa hotline at 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. That's the Taco Casa hotline. Thanks to the great folks over at Overflow Express Wash as well for making today's show possible. That's Overflow Express Wash, overflowexpresswash.com. 2 locations in Northport and in Tuscaloosa to better serve you, to help keep your car clean inside and out. Andy Phillips and his team do a great job, and they invite you to be a part of their team. That's Overflow Express Wash, overflowexpresswash.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we've got a wreck reported on Alabama 171 at Old Moores Bridge Road. You can expect some delays there. If you see other conditions this morning that folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection of fuel-efficient vehicles. Go check them out. You'll save thousands. I'm Captain Ray.
The deals are blooming at the JCPenney Spring Sale. Shop an array of doorbusters while they last, or use your coupon to save an extra 20% across the store. The deals are blooming at the JCPenney Spring Sale.
My caretaker was very rough with me. I thought they did it because I wasn't moving fast enough.
Elder abuse is a crime, and together we can stop it. If you or someone you know has been abused, neglected, or exploited, call the Adult Abuse Hotline at 1-800-458-7214. That's 1-800-458-7214. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Human Resources, the Department of Justice, ADEFI grant number 18 VA VS 050, the ABA, and this station.
Get lasting joint pain relief without surgery, without drugs, without downtime. New options are now available here. Regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Gary Harris talking about biologic therapies. This is the most exciting medical development in years. These remarkable regenerative treatments actually encourage your own body to help heal the damaged tissue in your joints. Pro athletes have done this for years. Now it's available for folks like us. If you've been struggling with knee, back, shoulder, or hip pain, arthritis pain of any kind, you need to check out this exciting natural alternative with incredible patient satisfaction reports. Restorative biologic therapies at QC Kinetics. Effective treatments for chronic joint pain with no drugs and no surgery. Call for a free consultation now. Learn about all the options available to help you get pain-free. Call now, 205-686-1941, 205-686-1941. This is the most exciting medical development in years. These remarkable regenerative treatments actually encourage your own body to help heal the damaged tissue in your joints. That's 205-686-1941. QC Kinetics.
Everything is better at Benton Nissan. At Benton Nissan of Bessemer and Benton Nissan of Hoover, you get an even bigger selection. We have more than 400 used cars on the ground. Don't pay above sticker for new cars when we have like new used cars waiting for you. Drive a little, save a lot at Benton Nissan of Bessemer, 5487 Academy Way, and Benton Nissan of Hoover, 1640 Montgomery Highway. Benton Nissan, your friend in the car business. For qualified customers, see dealer for details. Everything is better at Benton Nissan.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A big warm up today. The sky partly to mostly sunny. Tuscaloosa's high at 77. For tonight, increasingly cloudy with a low at 52. Tomorrow, rain and strong storms during the morning. Another round of storms late tomorrow afternoon. The high is 71. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 45 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmartdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Yeah, I think it is big because it's a different deal. Last year was a little different with the bubble. You're not flying to different sites and having a full arena. So it'll even be new for the guys that have experience last year. But to have an experience in a loser go home game like we did, even though it was in the bubble, is still a big deal. Corner played really well in March. Shackelford's been in the games. We had 3 games. We had a tough one against Iona, played really well against Maryland, and then, obviously had a tough loss in overtime against UCLA. Those guys have 3 NCAA tournament games under their belt. Keon Ellis, Cornelius Shackelford, Juwan Gary, Darius Miles. We've got a group of guys that's played in big games like that. I think it'll definitely help in that regard.
True, false. Does it help that Bama made it last year? Is that going to give them any advantage going into the big matchup against Notre Dame? You're back in with the Martin Houston Show with X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston, and producer Mr. Joe Gaither. Guys, do you buy into the two questions? We asked one yesterday, kind of piggybacking off of this. Does the experience and does this whole, hey, we're locked in, we're more locked in than we've been all year, true, false, gives Bama an advantage going into this game against Notre Dame? Hey, start with you.
Yeah, true. Experience in big time games, win or go home games is always important. you rather have that than a bunch of guys that have never been there, never been in that type of pressure situation. But it is a little different having fans and a live venue and things of that nature. But you can never go wrong with having more experience in those types of situations.
Agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think that experience is a big thing. You look at Shaq, one of your best players, somebody you're going to rely on. You need him and JQ, two guys who were key pieces last season to be that key piece again this year. So I think experience is a big factor.
Does JQ magically find last March's form in tomorrow's game? And if so, does that get Bama to at least a Sweet 16, maybe an Elite 8 run, if just we can get JQ back to that form from last year?
If Quentin Lee can come back and play the way that he played last March again, and everybody else just keeps doing what they're doing, this Alabama team can be a threat and make it to the Sweet 16 and potentially further.
Yeah, I agree. I think the team will go as far as JQ takes them. I'm not real sure. You said, "Oh, will he magically turn it on?" I don't really have a lot of confidence in that, but I do think the team will go as far as he really wants to take them.
Yeah, well, that was kind of if I could mix in two segments, Joe, that would be kind of my deal, no deal. Do you take it that Quentin Lee will find it tomorrow, and we'll see the JQ of last year, who was and he's had flashes this year and has, but I don't think I've seen him play a whole game this year yet. SEC, he was a reigning SEC player, MVP. Deal no deal, does he find that magic tomorrow night?
No deal. There's no evidence that shows that he will.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. You want it as an Alabama fan, but with what we've seen from him this year, you can't trust that he's going to bring it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Another true false for you guys. When you look at the game, which team, like I said, Notre Dame showed the ability to be versatile, but they lean on the three as much as Alabama. True false, though, Bama finds a way to outscore Notre Dame in the paint. True false.
True.
And go ahead, Joe. I'll let you respond, then I'll ask a follow-up question.
I think you better hope it's true.
and of course, Bama's now they scored with their big man down low. If Bama does outscore them, and that is a true statement, is it going to be more of a drive and scoring at the rim, or is it more of it being a Bediako and Juwan and Rojas scoring?
I think Alabama's best chance is a mixture. Definitely it'd be great to get Bediako and Gary going, the two of those guys especially. But I feel like Davison and Quinterly and Shaq have to be able to drive and make layups. So when they do kick out to that guy that's in the corner or at the top of the key, there's not a lot of pressure still sitting in those guys' faces.
Yeah, I think the best way to do it would be to be active on defense and get out in transition, get a lot of easy buckets at the rim in transition. That would be my most preferred way to outscore them in the paint.
Well, yeah, and did you you said you didn't get to see all the game. I think Notre Dame last night ended the game with 6 turnovers. And one of them, they had 4 in the first half. They played the entire second half with 1 turnover, and then in overtime, the ball went off one of their guys' foot as a turnover. So that's turning this team over, I think, is going to be huge and instrumental into whether or not Bama can beat them. Because if our turnovers, if we're 3-1, in turnovers, which is possible with this team, we stand zero chance. I mean, now to a question. Last night, double overtime. This is really kind of a just a response question, not necessarily true false. I guess you could make it true false, but with last night's win, um, with Notre Dame going to double overtime to do it, when you look at your expectation, I guess it can be with your expectation. First part of the question is, did your confidence in Alabama advancing past Notre Dame go up, true or false? And then the second part of that response is, if they don't, what are your thoughts?
Oh man. True. I'll say true because I feel like Notre Dame was the best team for us to play out of the two. So,
And if we don't win,
and if we don't, the reason why we won't win.
no, if we don't, how you gonna feel about this Bama team?
If we don't win, it just puts the bow on a disappointing season. A team that had a lot of potential coming into the year started off great and faltered down the stretch.
All right, Joe. What's your thoughts?
Well, Alabama. I mean, Alabama. You really ought to win. Doing more or less confident? No, it didn't really change. I'm feeling like Alabama needs to win on Friday, basically because of the travel, and that didn't change anything based on what happened in the game last night. Notre Dame travel, and you got to imagine you already hit on Alabama watching film maybe at 9 or 10 p.m. Well, Notre Dame probably got on a plane at 1:30.
That's right.
2 in the morning. And they probably flew out there and they probably landed at 1:30, 2 in the morning because of the time difference. And they got to the hotel. And so what? They're waking up at 10. So the prep time for Notre Dame is way less. So they know it's a company that you really better take advantage of the fact that you've been out in California since Tuesday ready for this game.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's and that's to me, Joe. I think you kind of nailed it, put the nail on the head. I think that Alabama got a huge advantage with a double overtime, late night game, cross country flight. And it wasn't just any game. It was a very physical game against Rutgers. It was a very demanding game. I mean, they had to play for a solid, 50 minutes when you take the two overtimes. And it wasn't an easy moment in that game. And Curtis Lewis said, yes, because that was a grueling game for Notre Dame. And then you add to it the travel and all of that. It makes it that much worse. So to me, Alabama did get a huge advantage in the fact that, Joe, as you just laid it out, man, Notre Dame, jet lag is jet lag. If you travel in times like that, then you take everything is actually an hour earlier. You know, than it was because the time springing forward. So it's a lot of things going to Alabama's advantage, and I'm gonna be really more disappointed if this team loses this game than I would have been otherwise had it not played out the way it did last night. All right, we got recruiting coming up next. We got Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. He's in the conversation next. Pat, we'll have to get you on the other side of the recruiting, or you can hang on for a recruiting question with Hank South. You listen to the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we've got a wreck reported on Alabama 171 at Old Moores Bridge Road. You can expect some delays there. If you see other conditions this morning that folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection of fuel-efficient vehicles. Go check them out. You'll save thousands. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Did you know not washing your hands after using the bathroom can increase the spread of hepatitis A? Washing your hands with soap and water, as well as getting vaccinated, is the best way to protect yourself if you are at risk of getting hepatitis A. One dose of the hepatitis A vaccine provides long-lasting protection in up to 95% of those who receive it. For more information on the hepatitis A outbreak in our state, visit alabamapublichealth.gov/IMM. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Public Health, the ADA, and this station.
Jam, rock and roll at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos and win your share of $75,000 this March. Every Friday and Saturday, we're giving away $1,100 in bonus bet every hour from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. Then at 11 p.m., 2 lucky winners will each receive $2,500 cash. Only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos, Pearl River Resort Properties.
It's Tango Day, everybody. Follow after me and step and bet and slide and dip. That's tango.
Why is Ice T leading a tango class?
It's probably the heart-shaped Honey Nut Cheerios. He found out they can help lower cholesterol. Now he's having fun taking care of his heart in all sorts of new ways.
Let's see those hips move, people.
Hurry and get your heart-shaped Cheerios. They're only here for a limited time.
The deals are blooming at the JCPenney Spring Sale, starting with an array of doorbusters while they last, like men's and women's jeans from A&A and St. John's Bay. Select styles and washes just $21.99. And Linden Street Performance bath towels in all your favorite colors, only $5.99. Or use your coupon to save an extra 20% across the store. Spring's back and so are the savings. JCPenney offers valid 3/7 to 3/23. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details. Doorbusters exclude fin coupons.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com, that's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Hey, yes, hey.
Good morning. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's now time for our weekly catch up with Bama online recruiting guru, 247 recruiting guru, Hank South. You can follow him at Hank South 247. Good morning, Hank. How you doing, sir?
Hey, good morning, Martin. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Well, Alabama had a big weekend a couple weekends ago, but out on spring break this week, but with everything moving, it doesn't slow down for you. What's the latest in the recruiting world when it comes to Bama? And looks like a couple guys are putting Bama in, excuse me, in their top 5.
Yeah, like you said, out on spring break, so there hasn't been a whole lot of visits. Last weekend was a little quiet, but that'll pick back up starting next week throughout the rest of the spring into 8A. But yeah, the big news last night in terms of narrowing the list down was Nico Iamaleava, the 5-star quarterback from California. He put out the top 5 yesterday evening. Had Alabama. It was the schools we expected, but Alabama, Tennessee, Oregon, Miami, and Georgia were his top 5. There's been a lot of Tennessee buzz lately. People are projecting Tennessee to land them after he was out in Knoxville a couple weeks. But obviously, he hasn't made a decision yet. He's supposed to visit Alabama later this month, return to Tuscaloosa. So, we'll see if Bama changes anything. But right now, the Vols appear to have the momentum for him. Another big quarterback target, Arch Manning. He has a couple visits coming up. His first visit of the spring, he's going to Georgia this weekend, and then Texas next week, and then he's supposed to visit Alabama as well this spring at some point. So that date's not set yet, but he's also supposed to be in Tuscaloosa. So another big quarterback target. But yeah, beyond that, Bama still with 2 commitments. Jaleel Hurley and Elliot Washington the second. I'm sure we'll see that number continue to grow this spring into the summer. But right now it's kind of a little bit of a lull. But obviously it'll pick back up soon.
Yeah, and as you say, Iamaleava coming out with a graphic. I'm gonna Hank. I'm just gonna look at the graphic and say Alabama's right in the middle. That means we're in the lead. You have to find a way, right? But really, I guess the question becomes, sometimes in recruiting, how this thing all works out. There's Arch Manning who's interested in Alabama. Here's Nicholas Iamaleava who's interested in Alabama. You really, I don't see both of these guys choosing the same school. But if you had to toss up between these two, which one is more likely, if Bama lands one of them, to end up in Tuscaloosa? If you had to do a crystal ball.
Yeah. Originally, I had been leaning Nico earlier on. There was some Oregon buzz for him, and there was obviously the Tennessee buzz now. But prior to that, there was talk that Bama had a maybe had the inside track for him. But I think lately, I'm leaning more towards Arch Manning being the guy out of the two. If I had to pick one of them, I'm leaning more Arch at this point. But again, we'll see. He's got that Georgia visit coming up. He's going to go back to Texas, and obviously, all these schools are going full throttle for him. So it's not anything set in stone, but I think Bama's trending a little bit more in that recruitment in particular. But beyond those two, there's another quarterback I wrote about over the weekend to pay attention to, and that's Eli Holstein, who's currently committed to Texas A&M, but he was back in Tuscaloosa for the junior day on March 5th. And he's a guy I think that is a really intriguing potential flip candidate, someone that Bama seemingly is pushing for. They've been recruiting pretty hard. He's been to Tuscaloosa twice since he's been committed to the Aggies, and he's going to come back for an official visit. He's one we're watching as well. So kind of put his name into the mix. He's from Louisiana, like Arch Manning. He's from Zachary, Louisiana, committed to Texas A&M, but still looking at Bama pretty hard. So kind of those three are the names we're watching closest.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about what type of player Iamaleava is versus Manning, or are you looking at the same style quarterback or different quarterback?
Yeah, I think they're different. I think they're similar frames. They're both real big kids. Pocket presence is there. I think Oliva, I would say his arms maybe a little bit more. I would say live arms, but he throws the ball a little bit different. I think he kind of can throw from different angles a little bit better to be like off platform a little bit more. It's hard to say. I think maybe Adelin is a better athlete. He's also a volleyball player. I think he's like a professional volleyball player almost. He does it pretty seriously. Archman played basketball with his high school team, but I'd say Adelin is probably a little bit better of an athlete, can move around a little bit better. But when it comes to kind of everything you look for in the next level quarterback, they both have it. They've got the size, they've got the frame, they've got the arm strength, pocket presence, leadership. So it's kind of hard to distinguish between the two when for the number 1 and 2 ranked quarterbacks. I think by most services.
Awesome. That's Hank South 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting X. You're up next.
All right. Hey, how you doing this morning?
Hey, good man. How are you?
Doing good. So when we look at this recruiting thing with an Arch Manning, we see that most people think his top 3 are Alabama, Texas, Georgia. When you look at going into the 2023 season, we know Alabama most likely will be replacing Bryce Young. You look at Georgia, Stetson Bennett will have burned through all of his eligibility plus some. And then you look over at Texas and you have Quinn Ewing, who will be going into his redshirt sophomore season, but he's the only guy, if he wins the job, him, Hudson Card, Malik Murphy, whoever wins that job, all of those guys have multiple years of eligibility left at Texas versus the other 2 schools. Do you think that could play a factor?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I know. I'm sure he's looking at that. Obviously, with Bama replacing Bryce, they're going to be down to 2 quarterbacks, scholarship quarterbacks, assuming Bryce goes to the draft after next season. But it doesn't seem to have really turned him off. I think he's open to the competition. But I think at the same time people say that, and they're always keeping an eye on that chart as well. Especially the quarterback position. You just want to play as quickly as possible. So it's hard to say because you look at quarterback rooms right now. What's that going to look like next year with the transfer portal? Nobody would have seen kind of this situation coming together this time last year with Quinn Ewers going to Ohio State, and now he's going to be the starting quarterback at Texas, most likely. That's kind of the assumption, I guess. How this is all kind of unfolded. So, yeah, I think he's looking at it, but I don't think that's the biggest. I don't think that's the biggest thing for Arch Manning in his recruitment.
Go ahead.
And one last thing is everybody knows Alabama has to replace the 2 offensive tackles that we lost this year, and we have all the options from guys that have been on campus, guys coming in through this 2022 class. But I cannot remember his name, the offensive tackle from Vanderbilt. Has he made his visit to Alabama
Tyler
yet,
Sheen.
or is he?
No, yeah, he's supposed to visit on, I believe, the 26th. He said the 25th or 26th. He's taking an official visit next weekend. So that's upcoming. LSU's pushing for him. There's several schools pushing for him, but I get the feeling that Bama probably has a pretty good shot to add him if they're ready to take him. I think that's going to be a spot he seriously looks at.
Oh wow! So you feel like if Bama wants him, then he could be in the crimson jersey come this summer.
I think so.
Okay.
And most people I've talked to have felt the same in his recruitment. Obviously you look at the offensive tackle position, and any guy he'd be coming in for is about to be the first round pick. So I think they'd have the inside track as long as they're pressing for him, trying to add him.
Yeah, and with the way Nick Saban does offensive line play, if there's any position that it really doesn't necessarily, it won't help him, but doesn't necessarily hurt him, it would be offensive line because traditionally under Nick Saban, we usually go all the way into the spring, into the summer, and many times into week 1 or 2, trying to find the best five. So we'll keep our eyes on Mr. Tyler out of Vanderbilt and see where he ends up. One last question for you, Hank. Of course, we hear the quarterback battle. What's the next big battle or a position fight do you see that? Well, actually, that someone has a question. It was regarding tight end, so I said I would get that question in. Let me go back to it. Where do you see us going from a tight end standpoint?
Yeah, there's a few options. I think we'll see more offers go out, this spring and summer to that position. But one of the big names that Bama's kind of hasn't, has made some headway with is Walker Lyons. He's a top 100 tight end out of Folsom, California. So, same skill as Jonah Williams from a few years back. But he's a guy, he was on the campus for LSU last November. He's really close with the new tight ends coach, Joe Cox. That's a plus. And obviously, he already has experience on campus and kind of knows what to expect. But he's supposed to be back this spring. So that's kind of the guy, I look at closest, whether they're going to one or two,
And who was that, Hank?
Yeah. His name was Walker Lyons out of California.
Okay.
So yeah, he's the one I would circle. They haven't offered a ton of tight ends yet. Another guy they recently offered is committed to Mizzou is Brett Norfleet. He's from Missouri, committed to the Tigers. He's also a baseball player, so he's a two-sport guy. But they offered him recently. I would imagine he's going to visit as well. He's saying all the right things about his Mizzou commitment, but I think he wants to visit Bama too at some point. Those are kind of the two names. They've offered several guys, Luke Has, who's committed to Arkansas, Max Markway, Lawson Lucky, who's committed to Georgia. So there's a handful of guys they're after. And also Arch Manning's tight end, Will Randall. He's also a guy they've offered. So handful of guys, I think we'll see that, number grow in terms of who they're going after. But Walker Lyons is the one I would circle as the guy to keep an eye on right now.
And did you say that there's some relationship with Cox in terms of that offer? Yeah. Okay. All right. And that's probably part of what's going on is, a lot of times when new coaches come in, they kind of try to evaluate the guys that fit the system as well as that they like. So wouldn't be surprised to see a few more Cox guys pop up into that. Hank, tell our listeners where they can find you, sir, and what you got going on.
Yeah, BamaOnline.com. Obviously, we've got the tournament firing up today, so plenty of discussion on the board. There was a lot of discussion last night about that Rutgers Notre Dame game. That was pretty wild. That was to double overtime. But yeah, so it's a good time to join. I think it's $1 for your first month right now, and obviously we got spring practice coming back next week, so a lot to talk about.
All right, that's Hank South 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Great follow at Hank South 247. Thanks, Hank. We'll catch up with you next week.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
All right, coming back on the other side, we'll put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we've got a wreck reported on Alabama 171 at Old Moores Bridge Road. You can expect some delays there. If you see other conditions this morning that folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection of fuel-efficient vehicles. Go check them out. You'll save thousands. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Thursday morning and happy St. Patrick's Day. 19-year-old Tyrese Laquan Bell has been arraigned
Tuscaloosa County Court on double murder charges stemming from that drive-by shooting near Freeman Park in West End on Sunday. The hearing revealed Bell was the alleged driver of that car when shots were fired to kill 25-year-old Marcus Winston Jr. and 2-year-old Ashton Jones. Judge Joanne Janik refused to lower Bell's $3 million bond. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free. I'm Don Rinkley. Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb Series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Straight Talk Wireless now has the new iPhone 13 with cinematic mode, which lets you focus on what matters. And with Straight Talk, you can focus on getting the best deal. Our Silver Unlimited plan is just $45 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. And it runs on the largest, most dependable networks, now with nationwide 5G. With the iPhone 13 on Straight Talk, you can share whatever you want, wherever you want. Straight Talk Wireless. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
The deals are blooming at the JCPenney Spring Sale. Shop an array of doorbusters while they last, or use your coupon to save an extra 20% across the store. The deals are blooming at the JCPenney Spring Sale.
What is the Townsend Nissan difference? Pricing is made easy, payments and finance options are made easy, and your trade-in value is very easy here at Townsend Nissan. No games, no gimmicks, just a super easy at-home buying experience. Right here at Townsend Nissan. And with pre-owned vehicles starting at $14,995 and all pre-owned units are clearly priced, your total shopping experience will be easy here in a safe and secure environment versus those big city dealers. And the funnest part will be deciding which Townsend Nissan vehicle you would take home today.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Alabama One Insurance, alabamaoneinsurance.com is where you can find them. We will review your policies, reduce your premium, and you can relax knowing that you're properly covered. So review, reduce, relax with Alabama One Insurance, alabamaoneinsurance.com. Stop by our branch location and come in, and we'll be glad to quote it. Or you can give us a call at 205-342-0112 or visit us online. Either way, we'll get you a hassle-free, no obligation quote, and we'll do all the shopping for you. That's Alabama One Insurance, your one source for all your insurance needs. All right. The key that we have here, well, before we move on, Pat is in with us. Pat, what's on your mind, sir?
Hey, good morning, Martin. Hey, I just wanted to bring up Levi Wallace. If you doing pep talks, if Coach Saban is doing a recruiting on D-backs, hey, they need to do a video and have a voiceover from a guy from the Masters talking about Levi Wallace. What a success story. I mean, he just needed to be brought up this morning, and that's why I held on through recruiting to talk about Levi Wallace. What a story. What do you think?
Definitely a feel-good story for a great guy who, he did it the right way, walked on, worked hard, kept his nose clean, went up to Buffalo, and just kept battling, and of course, just signed with the Steelers in the trade. Been a lot of Alabama guys moving, but he is definitely one of the feel good stories.
Gotcha. I just wanted to bring that up. I mean, just it's absolutely an incredible story.
I guess he made room for OJ Howard, who is headed to Buffalo. Him and Mike Shula, it looks like gonna be together at Buffalo, and then there's Julio Jones may be released by the Titans, so we'll have to watch it and see where he lands and if and anyone picks him up, and so a lot of Alabama guys on the move. Yeah, so a lot of Bama guys. When you have that many guys in the pros, I guess you can't help but have a lot of guys on the move.
Josh Jacobs back to number 8.
Do what?
Josh Jacobs is returning to number 8 with the Raiders.
Oh, changing his number back. All right, thanks, Pat. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank y'all.
All right, X, I'll toss it to you. Give us your thoughts on Bama and Notre Dame, since you won't be on with us tomorrow.
Yeah, I really hope Alabama goes out and plays the brand of basketball that we know they're capable of playing. They do have an advantage, as you and Joe both mentioned, being rested and well prepared. Notre Dame has to deal with the fatigue of a physical game and travel. So the everything is in Alabama's favor. They just got to go out and execute, and I expect Alabama to win a close one.
All right, Joe, you got any closing thoughts, sir?
Just excited to get the tournament underway. The real first round starts right about 11 o'clock.
Yeah, ready for the real March Madness. Of course, last night was pretty mad. If you're a Rutgers Notre Dame fan, and we appreciate Rutgers. We appreciate you pushing Notre Dame to the brink. We'll talk more about what that means for Bama on tomorrow. We'll also talk a little more football. Hey, and listen, you're always welcome to be a part of the conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show via the Taco Casa hotline. Thanks, X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston. You can find his podcast on all the social media outlets under X's and O's Sports Podcast. And thanks, Joe, our brand manager and producer extraordinaire, for being part of the program. Thank you, callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters, for being a part of the Martin Houston Show. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you on tomorrow on the flip side. And remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, always acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Roll Tide. Thanks, Xavier. We'll catch you on next week.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.